Hello everyone, welcome to the STYGIAN coil LICH guide. This is a classic build that comes back for Season 2. For those who don't know, what you do is that you convert Drain Life into a laser beam thanks to the STYGIAN coil unique, and for that reason you're gonna need this unique to play the build. If you wanna level, you can follow the Acolyte leveling guide. It's a warlock, and then when you get the unique you can respec without any problem and start playing the build the moment you get the unique. This is a crit build. You can also play this ability with poison, but the crit version in the endgame does way more damage, and that's why we are going for this on max roll. Other uniques that are going to be very good for the build are obviously like Twisted Heart, like in most mages, Grasp of the Blood Mage for the damage reduction and the flat crit. This is an addition to Season 2, and this item what allows us to do is that we don't need to rely on the crit from Prismatic Gaze, which was very annoying to do. And it also provides a damage reduction against rares and bosses. Again, overall, this build was already pretty tanky, and it's even better now. Like always, on the builds, you have the starting setup with very basic gear until you go to aspirational with really crazy stuff. Again, this is what it's possible, but with all the footage and everything you're gonna see from now on is with exactly this gear tested on the City Realm. So let's get into the build. Let's talk a bit about it. Like we said, you know, this build basically shines at single target DPS. The lifesteal that it has is crazy, but you know, it has a bit of a limited AoE situation because sometimes the beams kind of troll, you know, and if you compare it to some of the builds that we're gonna be showcasing on Season 2, you know, it's not as fast as it could. You can't compare it to a Falconeer or something like that, right? But again, you have to kind of be careful with mana, because if you spam Drain Life on cooldown, you're gonna be very accurate with your Rip Bloods in order to get mana back. So again, as long as you play decently, the mana is not a problem, and you can always wait to get a bit of mana to cast more Drain Lives. You're gonna have more than enough DPS, even if you don't cast the Drain Lives on cooldown, alright? Again, like most Lich builds, this is a Reperform build. We get a bunch of buffs from this. You're gonna see a lot of people spec into these nodes, the crit multiplier. This build has so much crit multi and has so much damage that it's way better to go for the mobility and for the defenses. But again, if you feel like it, you can go for it, but there's so many points in the Necrotic Flood to get there. I don't know, I don't really see the value versus the defenses, and you can get damage somewhere else. Pretty important notice, Haunting Nodes, very good for the Mark for Death. Since you have so many hits, this is enough to apply it, right? So you don't have to rely on other ways to do so. Death Seal, classic setup, you know. We have the Death Waves for a bit of clear for things get into, you know, like mobs rush us, which is really good. And then obviously you are gonna have the Deadlock, and the Deadlock is gonna be crucial for activating all your buffs and becoming like a powerhouse. Again, the build still does damage while Deadlock is not on, but the moment you press Death Seal, which is gonna be half the time, your damage is gonna like triple pretty much, right? Rip Blood basically as a mana user, you know, mana generator. Like thanks to these nodes, we make sure we reduce the cost too if necessary. If you know, so we make sure it's 0. And you're gonna see a lot of people that go into a bit extra cast speed or a bit extra damage. I really like the splatter without the mana cost, so it's actually easy to see where you're aiming with your Rip Blood. It also provides some AoE. And again, this way, if there's like a big monster and it summons like a bunch of ads or whatever, the Rip Blood does enough damage with the amount of flat that you get from the weapon, the ladle, that it will clear the small mobs, so the Stygian's coils focus on the actual mob that you want to kill fast, the actual danger, right? Again, I really like this, and we converted to necrotic for honestly visibility too, and we're scaling a bit of necrotic damage too. Overall, it's more generic, but it's good. Transplant, quintessential movement. You know, it has an execute. It applies bonkers for extra hits. Why not, right? We have the pull for slowing down enemies. This is very important for kiting in hard difficulties. Cooldown and the classic, you know, bone armor, which grants a bit of damage reduction to the build on top of all the damage reduction it has. And last but not least, and the most important ability, is the Drain Life. Again, we converted to the Stygian Coil into a Stygian Beam, which is this like lasers that you see that auto-target and stuff. And basically we want to make sure that we give it as much duration as possible, and that way we can stack as many as possible on top of, you know, like you keep stacking them because they're like separate instances. I used to think that that is a bug, but apparently it's not. I asked the devs, so yeah, this will probably eventually get nerfed, get some sort of limit at you can only have 3 Stygian beams active at a time or something, but at the moment it's not, so enjoy it while it lasts, okay? And all the damage multipliers possible. This used to not work on on the last season, but on season 2 they are working, right? So a lot of damage from this build. Okay, for passives, quintessential passives, right? You just get all the damage possible, pretty much. And again, I min-maxed exactly, you know, the nodes that will give you the most DPS, like testing against the dummy and stuff. So again, this is the tree, right? There is literally nothing you want to do. You don't want to be putting points in necrotic energy, because keep in mind, this is 20 flat damage for 10 points. You can get 20 flat damage with 2 Reblood casts, like pop pop, and you get, right? So invest into Elixir of Death. Again, if you see any Lich build that doesn't have Elixir of Death, complete troll, okay? This is super powerful damage reduction versus one of the most dangerous damage types in the game, which is physical, of course. And this has great synergy with Dead Seal damage reduction. Again, you have some additional tips there, so more explanations, everything is properly explained. But again, we transform, cast Drain Life, Reload for mana, and that's it. And we cruise. It's a pretty simple build, very easy to play. And the only thing that is a bit tricky, like I said, is making sure that you don't screw up your mana situation, okay? Again, you have all the tips there. And then on gear, you have the full progression. You can also click, you know, and you can have the gear open at all time with all the tools, right? Like always on our guides. And again, we just kind of explain the main important things. Notable things that are very important is the Grasp of the Blood Mage to cap the crit, and for the damage reduction, like I said. And that you need to know that with this build you're going to be stacking a lot of intelligence. There is also another multiplier through Stygian Coil through mana, but the problem is, like, because it's based on current mana and it's not based on total mana, because once you spam the Stygian Coils, eventually your mana is going to be drawn. So this might look very good on paper on a DPS calculator if you count that you're always full of mana, but the problem is, like, you might not be, right? Like as I showed in the gameplay, even with the endgame setup, which is pretty good gear. Again, Alchemist Ladle, we want to make as much mana as possible with Reblood, so we're stacking intelligence, just like a perfect fit. Stygian Coil also doesn't have that many multipliers on its own. Only the Drain Life ones run, and there's like 3 only, compared to other abilities like Earthquake and stuff, right? It's not that much. So the fact that we can get an extra multiplier through this is very nice. Again, another notable mention from this patch is the Orion's Descent. This is basically 25 base intelligence, right, in the implicit. So again, with the endgame setup, you're gonna get like 200 int, you know, easily. And with the starting setup, you're gonna have at least 100, right? So it's a powerful build. It gets online fast. The moment you get some crit, it does really well. So yeah, and again, Twisted Heart, just bunch of cast speed, bunch of intelligence. It's just a good thing. You could also go for Grimoire or for Shattered Worlds if you eventually get it. Good luck, and be careful. Also, if you been told to use Seed of Yggdrasil with this build, because again, the mana, especially once you have long encounters like Uber Avaroth and things like that, you're gonna eventually mana is gonna be a problem. So you don't want to be in a situation where you can't cast damage because Seed of Yggdrasil procced a bit too much. Again, if you're doing easy content, there's no reason to wear it, and if you're doing hard content, it might screw your DPS. It is wearable, but I don't think it's best in slot. It's like very situational in some fights and stuff, right? Yeah, again, Flames of Midnight and a very good option if you don't have red rings for the movement speed. Remember, guys, in this patch, gearing has changed, right? Legendaries are now guaranteed slam, so getting this kind of ring, it's gonna be easier than getting this kind of chest piece, okay? So don't get baited by creators who saying, oh, red rings are so easy, so hard to get, they're impossible. No, they're not. You just need to spend all your favor on ring prophecies while being COF rank 12. You will get there. If it takes you a few days, it's okay, right? But then you just buy ring prophecies non-stop, and every 200k favor on average, right? At least now, actually, because they nerfed it. You're gonna be getting a red ring on average. And again, a red ring for 1 LP on COF is 1 in 8. So, you know, every like million favor on average, more or less, you should be getting a red ring with guaranteed slam LP, right? So again, you can do it, okay? I believe in you. It's gonna be much harder to get items like this. All right, for scaling, basically a lot of necrotic, right? We're gonna be getting most of our necrotic through Ripblood with the ladle. The ladle is gonna give us a lot of cast speed, intelligence and mana, you know, synergy with the Stygian coil. And for defenses, the classic leech stuff, you know, intelligence is gonna be giving us armor and defenses thanks to the Reperform tree. And again, this build, once you are on Death Seal, it's gonna have 10,000 armor or more, right? So again, you're really, really tanky. And yeah, the build guide is gonna be right here. You have the loot filter. Remember, you can just copy it to the clipboard. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this this guide. And here's some extra footage if you guys want to see it. Enjoy.
Such wasted potential. Orobis would have welcomed you. You fight for nothing.
Impossible. Death will not take me. Impossible. It eludes me. Your death has come.